To the meaningful moment together with the Shabbos message. So this week's Torah portion teaches us something very important. Everything that we need to know, we can look at the history, the Torah, and it teaches us what to do and how to deal with it. And a very interesting story, which is the Canaani, they basically made a war and they took one captive. So what did the Jewish people do? Did they negotiate? Did they seek a ceasefire? They said to God, if you will make us successful, if you will help us get the captive back, we will destroy their cities to the ground. And that is the truth, because God wants us to destroy evil. Anybody that takes a Jewish child, that kills, that rapes, that murders, their cities need to be razed to the ground. And if a person says, well, that's cruel, no, it's cruel if you don't. Because if there's cancer and you don't annihilate the cancer, that's cruel. You're allowing it to continue. We should negotiate whatever we can, and we should raze Gaza to the ground. And the same thing is the West Bank, and the same thing is any terrorist location, just like we did to Hezbollah, basically blew up all their cities. You do not allow a stronghold, particularly in your own country. It's insane that Israel gave anything to terrorists. Who would give an axe murderer backyard access to your home? And that's what we did. We need to have a come to God moment and say, God, give us back our captives, and we will raze these cities to the ground. And I promise you, and I don't say that lightly, that God will do it. God sees the intention. We have to be strong Jews, not pathetic people like a battered wife syndrome that accepts the abuse. There's no accepting of abuse. There's this kind of liberal racism, which is, oh, these poor people, they can't control their emotions. No, they can control their emotions. The Nazis could have not been Nazis. And the best thing you can do for evil is to destroy it, because then their children won't be evil. Then you won't accept it. You won't normalize the sickness that exists. And so, for what it's worth, I say to God, make me prime minister, and I guarantee that I will raze those cities to the ground, because any Jewish leader has to put Jewish life first. If I was the prime minister, I would say 5 minutes, hostages back, and then it is razed to the ground. I mean, there are other little caveats that would make that deal a little sweeter and make it work. But the bottom line is, there can be no space, no harbor, no acceptance of this evil in the world. And ironically, I'm going to say something which may be self-critical to Israel, to ourselves. It's our fault that terrorism is spreading, because we are a sovereign country. And if we have this battered syndrome and we allow the terrorism to exist, then other countries in the West, they are following our example. But if we say, oh, you shot a Jew, that city, that people that it comes from, that is going to be annihilated. Then everybody would learn, oh, is that how we deal with people that destroy us? Okay, the destruction would stop in one day. In a single day, everything would stop. So, please God, He should bring the Mashiach now, and the Mashiach understands the value of life. I'll conclude with a story. There's this woman, she worked for my grandmother. So she was a Russian survivor of the Nazis. The Nazis came. There was actually not 6 million Jews murdered. There were 7 million Jews murdered, based on Yale. And the Nazis went into Russia, and they had these groups, and they basically took the Jews from the villages, had them dug a pit. And if they were lucky, listen carefully to what I'm saying, if they were lucky, they would shoot them and bury them. Many of them, they buried them alive. You know what that means? Buried alive. And this lady, this was when Gilad Shalit was a captive. And she told me, Netanyahu, he's not a strong prime minister. And I'm a Netanyahu fan, so I was like, what are you saying? Why are you saying that? So she told me, listen, in my village or wherever I was, and she saw this. They took the Jews, they buried them alive. She said the ground was moving. That big mound on top of them, I guess, that nobody could get out of, it was heaving for 2 weeks. And then I understood what she was saying. You're allowing mass murderers to hold a Jew? Why didn't we say give him back today or Gaza doesn't exist? But we didn't. First we gave them Gaza, and then we allowed them to keep Gaza, somewhat with Bill Clinton with the Democratic pressure, which is evil for them. And then when they were holding a Jew, we actually gave thousands or 1,000, including this whole current situation came from one of the people. Why are we holding people kill Jews and we hold them in our prisons? They should be shot immediately. What is the lesson that you're saying? Not only are they not shot, they're getting money from Qatar, they're getting money from the quote-unquote Palestinian Authority, the major terrorist organization. What are we doing? Would you allow your child to be, if somebody killed, God forbid, your child, would you keep him alive? Would you allow him to get a salary? Would you give him up? No. So until we see every single Jew as my child with that same kind of love, or let me say it in the positive, we should see every single Jew as my child. And there should be zero tolerance for any anti-Semitism, for any murder of Jews. And yes, we should do exactly what our ancestors did, and God will help us. We saw that in Iran. We went to war, we didn't lose anything because we took the right step. So in life, God is waiting for us to be bold, to be courageous, and then he helps. But if we're meek and mild, then we allow the evil to take over. And this is our job in life, to be bold and courageous, and to not, basically say it correctly, is to destroy the evil. And God will help us and create a world where there will only be goodness. Thank you.